Well, my TED Talk is going to be about the advantages and disadvantages to having divorced parents. Having divorced parents is really hard, and more than half the kids in the United States have divorced parents. And over 80% of those divorced parents have been high school sweethearts. Now, my parents were high school sweethearts. They were together all through my mom's high school year. And then they got married, and things went wrong, and they got divorced. Now, it's been really hard having divorced parents. Like, it's difficult. There's a lot of do's and don'ts and differences between the houses. There's some advantages, very few, but there's some. And like the picture behind me, you get twice as many presents. Now, luckily, both my parents got remarried, and you know how you visit both families for Christmas? Well, I get 4 times the presents, so that's pretty amazing. I think so, because we all like getting clothes. Well, I do. But on a less selfish manner, a good advantage is that when you're arguing with one parent, like me and my mom, we argue a lot. Like, we're always at each other's throats about everything. She doesn't agree with me, I don't agree with her. And her favorite saying is, we'll agree to disagree. Which to me, that doesn't solve anything. Like, that doesn't make it any better. So when that happens, I can call my dad and I can tell him to come get me, or I walk halfway to his house and he'll pick me up on like the side of the street. And it just helps you vent. Like, you could vent to your other parent and tell them what's going on, or it just helps you get away. Even if you don't want to talk about it, you can still get away from the other half and just stay there for a week or 2. Another good advantage is you learn how to have communication and relationship skills. Like, with communication, you have to tell 2 houses about deadlines, schedules, when you have soccer practice, when your games are. So you have to learn how to communicate with people. And if you don't, it could be really hard, because then they get mad at you and it's this whole big deal. But then with relationships, like if your step-parents have kids already, you have to learn how to live with them. And everyone has different personalities. So you have to learn how to adapt to living with other people, sharing a bathroom, time of when you have to wake up so you have your time to get ready in the morning. Now, there's a lot more disadvantages than advantages. Like, when my parents, they got divorced when my mom was pregnant with me. And so my mom thinks she can use me against my dad. So it's very hard to be stuck in between their arguments, because when my mom gets mad at my dad, she'll be like, oh, well, you can't see Britni anymore because you just can't see her because I'm mad at you. So it's really frustrating, because I get put in the middle of it, and it makes it so much harder to deal with, because if they have their own issues, it should stay between them. It shouldn't have to do with me. And that's why when they got divorced, my mom didn't tell me about my dad. I didn't meet him till 4th grade. And it's just like, I went through all that time thinking my stepdad was my real dad, so it was a big surprise meeting him. And like, I wanted to be around him more, so the fact that my mom kept me away from him made it even harder. Another one is when both your parents want you at the same time. Like on Christmas, on any holiday, they both want you. Of course, they're going to want you to spend time with your family. So it's hard to be at 2 places at once, and it gets really difficult because they tell you, well, you don't have to come, but just make sure you do the right thing. It's like, well, you're both my family, so what's really the right thing to do? Like, you can't choose a family over another. It's just too complicated, and it starts too many issues. Another is having, to me, the biggest issue for me has been having 2 dads. Like, once you get in high school, you have the father-daughter dance. And since my stepdad has been there since I was born, and my dad's there, who do I take? And it's awkward to take both because they don't get along that well. So I've never brought it up to my parents about going, and with this, having divorced parents, I might not ever be able to go to a father-daughter dance. And also when I get married later on in the road, who's going to walk me down the aisle? Like, it's a big thing. They both want to do it, but what's the right decision of who should walk you? I've just learned that people make divorce seem like it's a horrible thing, and some are. Like, some divorces are really bad. I have a friend who's divorced. His parents go to court every week fighting over him. And it can be hard, but it's not that bad. you get to get away from people. You get to do more things than you could. There's two totally different houses, so you learn two different styles of living. Like my dad has this huge old house and these nice cars, and my mom just has this little family home, and we live off of what we need to live off of. It's nice having so many people that love you too. Like, I get along for the most part with all my family members. Even though we fight, I still know that they all love me and they're doing it for the best of me. So instead of just having 2 parents that love me, I get to have 4. And it's pretty cool. So if your parents are divorced, just try to look more at the brighter things about it. Like, even if they argue with each other, just think they all love me and they're all doing this and try to make it work for me. And that's my